book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 1. And Solomon, the son of David, was strengthened in his kingdom, and the Lord his God was with him, and magnified him exceedingly. Then Solomon spoke unto all Israel, to the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and to the judges, and to every governor in all Israel, this chief of the fathers. So Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon. For there was the tabernacle of the congregation of God, which Moses the servant of the Lord had made in the wilderness. But the ark of God had David brought up from Kirjath-jearim to the place which David had prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, had made, he put before the tabernacle of the Lord. And Solomon and the congregation sought unto it. And Solomon went up thither to the brazen altar before the Lord, which was at the tabernacle of the congregation, and offered 1,000 burnt offerings upon it. In that night did God appear unto Solomon, and said unto him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, Thou hast shown great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto David my father be established, for thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in multitude. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is so great? And God said to Solomon, Because this was in thine heart, and thou hast not asked riches, wealth, or honor, nor the life of thine enemies, neither yet hast asked for long life, but hast asked wisdom and knowledge for thyself, that thou mayest judge my people, over whom I made thee king. Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee, and I will give thee riches and wisdom and honor, such as none of the kings have had who were seen before thee. Neither shall there any of after thee have the like. Then Solomon came from his journey to the high place that was at Gibeon into Jerusalem, from before the tabernacle of the congregation, and reigned over Israel. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he placed in the chariot cities with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver and gold at Jerusalem, as plenteous as stones, and cedar trees made he as abundant as the sycamore tree that were in the vale. And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and linen yarn. The king's merchants received the linen yarn at a price, and they fetched and brought forth of Egypt a chariot for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. And so brought they out horses for all the kings of the Hittites, and for the kings of Syria by their means. Chapter 2. And Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Lord, and a house for his kingdom. And Solomon counted out 70,000 men to bear burdens, and 80,000 to hew in the mountain, and 3,600 to oversee them. And Solomon sent to Hiram, the king of Tyre, saying, As thou dost deal with David my father, and didst send him cedars to build a house to dwell therein, even so deal with me. Behold, I build a house to the name of the Lord my God, to dedicate it to him, and to burn before him sweet incense, and for continuous showbread, and for the burnt offering morning and evening, on the Sabbaths, and on new moons, and solemn feasts of the Lord our God. This is an ordinance forever to Israel. And the house which I build is great, for great is our God above all gods. But who is able to build him a house, seeing the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain him? Who am I then, that I should build him a house? save only to burn sacrifice before him. Send me now, therefore, a man skillful to work in gold and in silver, and in brass and in iron, and in purple and crimson and blue, and who can expertly engrave with the skillful men who are with me in Judah and in Jerusalem, whom David my father provided. Send to me also cedar trees, fir trees, and algum trees out of Lebanon, for I know that thy servants have skill to cut timber in Lebanon. And behold, my servants shall be with thy servants, even to prepare me timber in abundance, for the house which I am about to build shall be great and wonderful. And behold, I will give to thy servants, the hewers who cut timber, 20,000 measures of beaten wheat, and 20,000 measures of barley, 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of oil. Then Hiram the king of Tyre answered in writing, which he sent to Solomon, because the Lord hath loved his people, he hath made thy king over them. Hiram said moreover, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who made heaven and earth, who hath given to David the king a wise son, endued with prudence and understanding, who might build a house for the Lord, and a house for his kingdom. And now I have sent a skillful man, endued with understanding, Hiram Abi, the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre, skillful to work in gold, and in silver, in brass, in iron, in stone, and in timber, in purple, in blue, and in fine linen, and in crimson, also to engrave any manner of engraving, and to figure out every design which shall be put to him. And with thy skillful men, and with the skillful men of my lord David thy father, now therefore, the wheat and the barley, the oil and the wine, which my lord hath spoken of, let him send unto his servants, and we will cut wood out of the Lebanon, which as much as thou shalt need, and we will bring it up to thee in floats by sea to Joppa, and there shalt carry it up to Jerusalem. And Solomon numbered all the strangers who were in the land of Israel according to the numbering wherein David his father had numbered them, and they went around 150,000 and 3,600. And he set 310,000 of them to be bearers of burdens, 80,000 to be hewers on the mountain, 3,600 overseers to set the people to work. Chapter 3. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, in the place that David had prepared on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build on the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the things wherein Solomon was instructed for the building of the house of the Lord. The length by cubits according to the ancient measure was 80 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. And the porch that was in the front of the house, the length of it according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits. The height was 120, and he overlaid it within with pure gold. And the greater house he sealed with fir tree, and he inlaid with fine gold, and set thereon palm trees and chains, and he garnished the house with precious stones for beauty, and the gold was gold of Parvaim, and he overlaid also the house with the beams, the posts, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold, and engraved cherubim on the walls. And he made the most holy house. The length thereof was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits. The breadth thereof 20 cubits. He overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. The weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. He overlaid the upward chambers with gold. And in the most high house he made 2 cherubim of image work, and overlaid them with gold. And the wings of the cherubim were 20 cubits long. One wing of the cherubim was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house. And the other wing was likewise 5 cubits, reaching the ring of the other cherubim. And one ring of the other cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house. And the other wing was 5 cubits also, joining to the ring of the other cherubim. The wings of those cherubim spread themselves forth 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet, and their faces faced inward. And he made the veil of blue and purple and crimson and fine linen, and wrought cherubims thereon. Also he made before the house 2 pillars of 30 and 5 cubits high, and the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. And he made chains as in the oracle, and put them on the heads of the chains. And he raised up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand, the other on the left. And he called that on the right hand Jochin, that is, he shall establish, and the name of the other on the left hand Boaz, that is, in it is strength. Chapter 4. Moreover, he made an altar of brass, 20 cubits in length thereof, and 20 cubits the breadth thereof, and 10 cubits the height thereof. And he made molten sea of 10 cubits from brim to brim, round in compass, and 5 cubits the height thereof, and a line of 30 cubits did compass it round about it, 10 in cubit, compassing the sea round about. 2 rows of oxen were cast when it was cast. It stood upon 12 oxen, 3 looking toward the north, 3 looking toward the west, 3 looking toward the south, 3 looking toward the east. And the sea was set above upon them, and all their hind parts were inward, and the thickness of it was a handbreadth, and the brim of it like the work of the brim of a cup, with flowers and lilies, and it received and held 3,000 baths. He also made 10 lavers, and put 5 on the right hand, 5 on the left, to wash in them. Such things as they offered for the burnt offering, they washed in them. But the sea was for the priests to wash in. And he made 10 candlesticks of gold, according to their form, and set them in the temple, 5 on the right hand, 5 on the left. He made also 10 tables, and placed them in the temple, 5 on the right hand, 5 on the left. And he made 100 basins of gold. Furthermore, he made the court of the priests, and the great court, the doors for the court, and overlaid their doors with brass. He set the sea on the right side of the east end toward the south. And Hiram made the pots, and the shovels, and the basins, and Hiram finished the work as he was to do for King Solomon for the house of God. To wit, 2 pillars, and the bowls and capitals which were on the top of the 2 pillars, and the 2 wreaths to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals which were on the top of the pillars, and 400 pomegranates on the 2 wreaths, 2 rows of pomegranates on each wreath to cover the 2 bowls on the capitals which were upon the pillars. He made also bases, and lavers he made upon the bases, 1 sea, and 12 oxen under it. The pots also, and the shovels, and the flesh hooks, and all their instruments, did Hiram Abi make for King Solomon, and for King Solomon for the house of the Lord of bright brass. In the plain of Jordan did the king cast them in the clay ground between Succoth and Zeradah. Thus Solomon made all these vessels in great abundance, for the weight of the brass could not be found out. And Solomon made all the vessels that were in the house of God, the golden altar also, and the tables thereon. The showbread was set, moreover the candlesticks with their lamps, that they could burn according to the manner, but for the oracle of pure gold. And the flowers and the lamps and the tongs made he of gold, and that of perfect gold, and the snuffers and the basins and the spoons and the censers of pure gold. And the entry of the house, the inner doors thereof, for the most holy place, and the doors of the house and the temple were of gold. Chapter 5. Thus all the work that Solomon made for the house of the Lord was finished. And Solomon brought in all things that David his father had dedicated, and the silver and the gold, and all the instruments, he among the treasures of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel, and the heads of the tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto Jericho, to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion. Therefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast which was on the 7th month. In the 7th month, all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark, and they brought up the ark, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and all holy vessels that were in the tabernacle. These did the priests and the Levites bring up. Also King Solomon and the congregation of Israel, who were assembled unto him before the ark, sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for multitude. And the priests brought in the ark of the covenant of the Lord unto his place, to the oracle of the house, into the most holy place, even unto the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim spread forth their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves of the ark, so that the ends of the staves were seen from the ark in front of the oracle, but they were not seen outside, and they are there unto this day. And there was nothing in the ark save the 2 tablets which Moses put thereon in Horeb, when the Lord made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. And it came to pass, when the priests had come out of the holy place, for all the priests who were present were sanctified, and did not then wait by course. Also the Levites, who were the singers, all of them of Asaph, of Herman, of Jeduthun, with their sons and their brethren, being arrayed in white linen, having cymbals and psalteries and harps, stood at the east end of the altar, and with them 120 priests sounding with trumpets. It came even to pass, as the trumpeters and singers were as one to make one sound, lifted up their voice, one sound, to be heard in praising and thanking the Lord. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and cymbals and instruments of music, and praised the Lord, saying, For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever, that then the house was filled with a cloud, even the house of the Lord. And so the priests could not stand to minister by reason of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord had filled the house of God. Chapter 6. Then said Solomon, The Lord hath said that he would dwell in the thick darkness, but I have built a house for habitation for thee, and a place for thy dwelling forever. And the king turned his face, and blessed the whole congregation of Israel. And the congregation of Israel stood. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who hath with his hands fulfilled that which he spoke with his mouth to my father David, saying, Since the day that I was brought forth my people out of the land of Egypt, I chose no city among all the tribe of Israel to build a house in, that my name might be there. Neither chose I any man to be ruler over my people Israel, but I chose Jerusalem, that my name might be there, and I chose David to be over my people Israel. Now was it in the heart of David my father to build a house for the name of the Lord God in Israel. But the Lord said to David my father, Inasmuch as it was in thine heart to build a house for my name, thou didst well in that it was in thine heart. Notwithstanding, thou shalt not build the house, but thy son, who shall come forth out of thy loins, he shall build the house for my name. The Lord therefore hath performed his word that he has spoken, and I have risen up in the place of David my father, and set on the throne of Israel, as the Lord had promised, and built the house for the name of the Lord God of Israel. And in it have I put the ark, wherein is the covenant of the Lord that he made with the children of Israel. And he stood before the altar of the Lord in the presence of the congregation of Israel, and spread forth his hands. For Solomon had made a brazen scaffold of 5 cubits long, 5 cubits broad, and 3 cubits high, and set it in the midst of the court. And upon it he stood, and kneeled down upon his knees before all the congregation of Israel, and spread forth his hands toward heaven, and said, O Lord God of Israel, there is no God like thee in all heaven, nor in the earth, who keepeth covenant, and showeth mercy unto thy servants who walk before thee with all their hearts. Thou who hast kept with thy servant David my father, and which hast promised him, and spokest with thy mouth, and hast fulfilled it with thine hand, as it is this day. Now therefore, O Lord God of Israel, keep with thy servant David my father, which thou hast promised him, saying, There shall not fall thee a man in my sight to sit upon thy throne of Israel, yet only that thy children take heed in their way, and walk in my law, as thou hast walked before me. Now then, O Lord God of Israel, let thy word be verified, which thou hast spoken unto thy servant David. But will God in very deed dwell with men on the earth? Behold, heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot contain thee. How much less this house which I have built? Have respect, therefore, to the prayer of thy servant, and to his supplication, O Lord my God, to hearken unto thy cry and prayer, which thy servant prayeth before thee, that thine eyes may be open upon this house day and night, upon the place whereof thou hast said, and thou wouldest put thy name there, to hearken the prayer which thy servant prayeth toward this place. Hearken therefore unto the supplications of thy servant, and hear thou from this dwelling place, even from heaven, when thou hearest, forgive. If a man sin against his neighbor, and an oath laid upon him, and make him swear, and the oath come before thine altar in this house, then hear from heaven, and judge thy servants by requiting the wicked, and recompensing his way upon his own head, and by justifying the righteous, by giving him according to his righteousness. And if thy people Israel be smitten before the enemy, because they have sinned against thee, and shall return and confess thy name, and pray and make supplication before thee in this house, then hear thou from heaven, and forgive the sin of thy people Israel. Bring them again unto the land which thou gavest to them and to their fathers. When the heaven is shut up, and there is no rain, because they have sinned against thee, yet if they pray toward this place, and confess thy name, and turn from their sin, when thou dost afflict them, thou Then hear thou from heaven, and forgive the sin of thy servants and thy people Israel, when thou hast taught them the good way wherein thou should walk, and send rain. And send rain upon the land which thou hast given unto thy people for an inheritance. If there be dearth in the land, if there be pestilence, if there be blight or mildew, locusts or caterpillars, if their enemies besiege them in the cities of their land, whatsoever sore or whatsoever sickness there be, what prayer or what supplication soever shall be made by any man or by all thy people Israel, when every one shall know his own sore and his own grief, and shall spread forth his hands into this house, then hear thou from heaven thy dwelling place, and forgive, and render unto every man according unto his ways, whose heart thou knowest, for thou only knowest the hearts of the children of men, that they may fear thee, to walk in the ways so long as they live in the land which thou givest to our fathers. Moreover, concerning the stranger who is not of thy people Israel, but have come from a far country, for thy great name's sake, that thy mighty hand and thy stretched out arm, if they come and pray in this house, then hear thou from thy heavens, even from thy dwelling place, and do according to all thy stranger calleth for thee, that all people of the earth may know the name and fear thee, as doth thy people Israel, and may know that this house which I have built is called by thy name. And if thy people go out to war against thy enemies by the way, and thou shalt send them, and they pray unto thee toward this city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name, let them then hear thou from the heavens, their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause. And if they sin against thee, for there is no man who sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them over before their enemies, and they carry them away captive unto the land far off or near. Yet if they bethink themselves in the land whither they are carried captive, and turn and pray unto thee in the land of their captivity, saying, We have sinned, we have done amiss, and have dealt wickedly. If they return to thee with all their heart and all their souls in the land of their captivity, whether they have carried them in captives, and pray toward their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers, and which I have built for thy name, then hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place, their prayer and their supplications, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people who have sinned against thee. Now, my God, let I beseech thee, thine eyes be open, thine ears be attentive unto the prayer that is made in this place. Now therefore arise, O Lord God, unto thy resting place, thou and the ark of thy strength. Let thy priests, O Lord God, be clothed with salvation. Let thy saints rejoice in goodness. O Lord God, turn not away the face of thy anointed. Remember the mercies of David thy servant. I'm going to stop there.